I betrayed one of my closest best friends by talking to our ex-friend. I will start with a little background knowledge. I used to be in a 5-person friend group and slowly but surely it dwindled down into a 3-person group. I'm gonna use fake names so it's easier to remember. In this 3-person group it was me, Molly, and Amber, and us 3 were super close. We were a close-knit trio for about 4 to 5 years. But I always felt extremely close to Amber even within our trio as we just had some unbreakable bond. Eventually me and Molly got into a fight with Amber last year. Molly accused Amber of trying to flirt and hit on her boyfriend. Meanwhile I was upset with Amber because she was just constantly being rude and looking down on me. I hadn't necessarily talked to Amber since the huge falling out of our friend group except once in March. When I talked to Amber in March because I missed her, Molly got angry with me and threatened to stop being friends, and it was just a huge explosive fight. She told me that if I'm friends with Amber then she will not be friends with me. Eventually me and Molly got past that and mended our relationship and I cut Amber off completely. September happened and I didn't have any contact with Amber. Amber and I attend the same college and both live in college apartments near the university. Meanwhile Molly lives away from the campus about 25 minutes away. I have a lot of casual friends who happen to be friends with Amber who I still hang out with. Now that I gave this background, let me get into the next part. 2 weekends ago I ended up seeing Amber through our mutual acquaintances. She came to me and she cried and she apologized about her behavior to me, and she said she would love to apologize to Molly if Molly didn't block her. I felt really touched by her apology and I decided to hang out with her through our mutual friends for the weekend. I really did miss Amber as a person and had a fun weekend. The issue is I knew it was bad of me to hang out with Amber because I knew Molly would not be happy with me. I betrayed Molly by hanging out with Amber. I know how badly it hurts her when I hang out with her. I have not told Molly about me seeing Amber and I'm nervous she's gonna find out if I don't. Molly randomly told me she had a dream me and Amber were hanging out behind her back a few days ago and she seemed absolutely crushed and upset about it even if it was just a dream. Molly also just let me know today that her family got us a surprise trip to Florida, free expense, everything pre-booked, which now I feel guilty about. How should I go about letting my best friend know I did indeed betray her? Comment. Your friend is being immature. Honestly, the drama is pathetic. Show her that a real woman doesn't give in to drama. In a few years none of this will matter and you probably won't be friends with any of them. How does someone score a free trip by another person's family though? I find this situation very hard to label it a betrayal. It may or may not trigger Molly against you. Betrayal is a disproportionate response. You were kids, and to an old guy like me you're still kids at 18 and 19. Kids make mistakes. It was wrong for Amber to be inappropriate towards Molly's BF and disrespectful of her friend's relationship. You were friends for 5 years, maybe a second chance is worth the risk? If I were in your shoes I would the discussion with Molly like this. I was at so-and-so's party and ran into Amber. She apologized to me for what she did and it sounded sincere. She would also like a chance to apologize to you and she really sounds sincere. We were friends for years. Do you think you can hear her out? Let Molly ask the questions and be 100% honest. Don't dump everything on Molly all at once, but don't lie or lie by omission or trickle truth. By the end of the conversation Molly should know everything you have done and plan to do with Amber. And I would strongly advise turning down the trip to Florida before talking to Molly. It's buying your affection, and while I'm sure that's not the intent, but it is in some ways resulting in that, and it's not healthy for your new budding friendship, and of course it looks absolutely awful to Molly if you accept. You and Amber have a relationship which is both restarting and starting brand new. The Amber now is not the Amber then, and the you now is not the you from back then. You need to go slow and rebuild your trust and learn who you both are now. Being around each other that much is vacation thing isn't slow, and it comes with a lot of potential stress. Vacations are actually rank in the top 5 of most stressful experiences for many people, and you may end up regretting it. It also looks very much like you took a bribe from Amber's parents to other people. Molly will definitely see it that way and Amber may eventually see it that way too. Story 2. I am having doubts in my first relationship with my girlfriend of almost 7 years. How to cope? So my girlfriend and I got together around 7 years ago while we were just finishing high school and met through mutual friends, different schools. We had our ups and downs but stuck together and grew together, and she's my best friend in the whole world. Both of us have changed a lot through college and stuff. We've been living together for 3 years now and argue almost never. But for the past half year I've been having doubts about our future and what I want from life. First of all, Our sex life has declined since the first year. We were both inexperienced and tried a lot in the first year, but ever since her interest has dwindled. She is currently busy with her studies, but even before we did it maybe once or twice a month, if at all. I am not sure if I have a very high libido, but it's definitely higher than hers. We have talked about it many times and she is very insecure about the matter as she feels I'm gonna break up with her because of it. So far I was very hopeful and really wanted to believe it will get better, but it just doesn't seem to improve. Maybe there just isn't anything to improve and she just not that into it. I can't change her body and preferences. She always had difficulties communicating openly, and without crying, which I attribute to her childhood and has come a very long way, but talking about sex is somewhat difficult as she feels guilty for not wanting it too often, and I don't know if there's anything deeper, maybe not. Another thing is essentially any deep topic is to be touched very carefully. Anything philosophical or talking about life goals or what we want from life, what we want to achieve, etc. can lead to her having a breakdown and crying. She tells me she feels stupid when we talk about those things and doesn't like to think about them. I do my best to comfort her and tell her that there are no wrong answers, but those are subjects that I cannot fully discuss with her, which is somewhat unsatisfying for me because while I don't have many ambitions in life besides living comfortably with my family, I find it important to have a conversation partner if I'm gonna spend my life with her. I know it sounds selfish and maybe superficial/arrogant, but sometimes I am not satisfied only talking about recent events and other people. It probably also stems from her childhood and bad experiences. I think no one in her family ever asked her for her opinion before, and any original thoughts she had were shut down, but at some point I'd like her to leave that behind, if that makes sense. She also doesn't have any hobbies, she literally just sleeps all day and watches YouTube. Which, honestly, would be absolutely fine with me if that was an active decision she made. Like if she thought about the meaning of life and came to the resolution that nothing matters and she wants to spend her life as a burrito, totally fine. It's the ignorance, for lack of a better word, that doesn't sit right with me. I should however mention that anytime I suggest doing something she is totally up for it, and we have plans to travel the world, so it's not terminal laziness but more uninspiredness. In the past couple of months I played with the idea of leaving her, but I feel trapped in the shared apartment, the furniture, common friends, the connections to her family whom I all love, basically the life I've known for my entire adult life. I'm also drowning in studies and exams and absolutely do not have the time to pack up things, look for a place to stay, move, learn an entirely new routine, and I know this sounds terribly selfish, as if I'm only staying with her because it's comfortable. Next year I'll be spending a semester abroad, which makes things even more complicated in my mind. But the most important reason is that we are best friends and partners, and it hurts to imagine life without her. She is honestly perfect and fits my personality so much, or maybe we adjusted our personalities over the years. For example, last week she made me breakfast in bed just like that, just because she was up earlier than me. I love spending time with her, I love talking to her, I love going out with her, and I can't wait to tell her every detail of my day when I come home. But I feel like those feelings were stronger before. And sometimes I catch myself talking to other women and realizing that I'm actually flirting. Not touching, not thinking of doing anything further, but I enjoy the attention, and now I keep second guessing everything. I feel the excitement, but then I think that the grass is always greener on the other side, and I think about my guy friends who are all frustrated from dating and dating apps and always tell me how lucky I am. It would also absolutely crush her and distract her from her final year studies, and honestly, I'm not sure if she could handle the breakup at all. I maybe just need to vent, but I'd love to hear any other opinions on this. I can't talk to my friends because I don't want them to think less of her, and many of them are her friends too, so it would make things awkward. Thanks for reading if you got this far. Comment. Ask yourself this: is she the one? If not, you're wasting both your lives. It was a successful relationship that has hit its expiration date. If you've been together this long with no commitment to marriage, you're just playing house. It could also be the 7-year itch, but I don't think she's the one. You'd know, you wouldn't be here. She sounds depressed to me. Adults her age want to experience life, not vegetate. They can have conversations without bursting into tears. I think your relationship is worth trying to save. Talk to her. If she starts crying, hand her the Kleenex and carry on. Tell her you're worried about her. Tell her what you've seen, her lack of interest in life, her decreased activity level, her mood instability, her decreased libido, etc. Ask her if she's depressed. She'll probably say no, but that's when you need to level with her. Tell her that you love her but you're worried about your relationship and want her to see someone. She's going to need a lot of support and probably a hard push to go see a doctor, but if you want to save your relationship, you're going to have to be strong for both of you for a little while longer. I think you'll both be surprised what a little bit of Prozac, or other antidepressant, can do.